My name is Ivan. I work for a company called Redbubble. You saw our stand downstairs today. So today I'm going to talk about how we evolve our product at Redbubble, how we actually make changes, and how we apply validated learning techniques to our product. So I'll start with telling you what Redbubble is. Redbubble is a marketplace for artwork, for artists, where artists can upload their work, and we print that work on different products like T-shirts, wall art, tote bags, cushions, and other things. We are a fairly large company. We're based in Melbourne. All our development team is in Melbourne. And we get about 10 million visits a month. We are at 100 people now, so we have office here in Melbourne and we have office in San Francisco. In terms of engineering, how we do things, at the moment we have 4 teams of engineers, and our teams are usually self-sufficient, so there's a product person in the team, there's a designer, and there are a few engineers, and they usually work towards a particular goal. We apply lean startup in our work. It started like a year and a half ago. A few of our guys went to a conference in San Francisco, and they got back very inspired, and they started talking about applying those techniques. And some of them I'm going to talk today. And we are agile, but we're not really zealous about our practices. We deploy continuously all the time when we need. So we can, we're doing up to 12 deploys a day. It was, I think, the maximum number of deploys in a particular day, but we can do more if needed. And the main thing is we always test our assumptions. That's what I'm going to talk today. So I'll tell you a story, and I'll show you a few examples of things we did in the past. So about a year and a half ago, well, a year ago, less than that, we started working on the area we call purchase experience. So what it is, it's a part of the website, part of the funnel, which starts after you found the work you want to buy. So it can be you found a T-shirt, let's say, and everything after that, how you add it to cart, how you pay for it, what communication happens, what happens after that stage is all a purchase experience. It's a very wide area. There are a lot of things happening there. But our broad assumption there was that by reducing the number of questions users ask while going through that process, we can actually increase buyer success. So we can help buyers to buy more, and therefore will help our business to grow. So with that assumption, we identified a few questions people ask during their experience, like, for example, how much would delivery cost? Would that particular T-shirt fit me? How would it look on my wall? Or what is the size of that cushion? And things like that, when people ask them and they don't find an answer, they can actually drop out, and they can just leave the site or not buy a product. So before I go to the details, how many of you did or know what A/B test is? Oh, that's good. That's a lot of people. So for those who don't know, that is an example of an A/B test on our website. So in the essence, it is you split your audience into two groups, and you show one group one screen, and you show another group another screen. Who can see the difference here? That's all right. So there's actually a difference here in this button. One has buy it now, another has like a very usual add to cart with a counter. And that is an example of a real A/B test on our website. Some of you also might have heard of a test done by Google. It's a very well-known thing. They called it 42 Shades of Blue when they actually tested color of a link in search results. So they had 42 variants with, and they tracked their performance, trying to work out which color works best. Back to how we do it, we split our audience randomly into separate groups. And it's a key, so users need to be split randomly. You treat them differently and you observe user behavior with your metrics. And then you just basically assign, you basically say which works, which doesn't. In this particular case, it was actually the other way around. Why would you do A/B tests? The main things when you're doing A/B tests, when you're testing your assumption, is that you can establish a causal relationship between your change and user behavior. Because sometimes you're making changes and you see you make a change on a website and you observe a change in user behavior, but if you did not do it properly, that may be just a correlation. There's no causation there necessarily. Another thing is that you should isolate your changes from the outside world. Let's say you release a change on, I don't know, Friday night, or the first day of the month, and all of a sudden you have a spike in sales. But that might simply indicate that people got their paycheck, and not necessarily your change affected their behavior. And as Airbnb says that outside world has a higher impact on your product than your changes. But A/B testing by itself is a complicated subject. I'm not going to cover it here. The only how I'm going to talk about today is your funnel. By a funnel, it is essential that you actually identify steps in user behavior and put them in a funnel with different metrics. So you measure things separately. The reason for that is pure math, because it's easier to detect changes when your metric fluctuates from 40 to 60% than when it is at around 2%. And it's just mathematics. How you do it, you basically, in our case, we have a very simple funnel. A buyer lands on a website, that's step one. Then buyer finds a work buyer interested in and adds it to cart, that's step two. And then buyer buys it. Those three steps in our funnel, we measure each of them individually, and we can observe difference in behavior in every particular step. So it gives us more insight on what users are doing and what our change is helping them to do. Now I'd like to tell you, show you a couple experiments we ran on a website. So the first one was free shipping. People have a notion that free shipping is something everyone looks for, and whenever you go to a website, if there's a free shipping, you're certainly going to buy. And we were thinking the same as well, and we're like, yeah, let's do free shipping. Let's just offer free shipping to people and see what they do. It was a very controversial test because like free shipping is not sustainable unless you change your pricing structure, unless you actually make this money somewhere else. If we would just go ahead and release that change without testing it, we would have to do a lot of upfront work on our pricing strategy, on how we advertise it, on marketing. It would involve a lot of people from engineering as well. And we'll spend a lot of time and money just implementing that test. This one, sorry, not the test, the change. We ran this test in probably 1 week. And the most interesting thing, we observed that there was no change. So users did not care about the free shipping. When we just give it to them, they like, yeah, whatever, don't need it. And that was unconditional free shipping. It was just straight free shipping without any sense of urgency, without saying that you have like 24 hours to do it for free. And because it was free shipping without changing any cost structure, we of course lost some money. And we calculated it, and at our scale, we lost just $3,500, which is not much for a big company. But we saved a lot more money just by not doing it. Because that test involved a couple engineers and for a couple of days. That was it. But if we would go ahead and do it, we'd spend like a month. That was a win, a huge win for us. Even though we proved ourselves wrong, it was a win because we did not have to do all the work. Next test we did was implementing Amazon payment system. So you all probably know PayPal, but Amazon has a very large user base in their payment system. So PayPal has 100 million people, and Amazon has 200 million people in their user base who use their payments all the time. We thought it would be actually good for our users to have that, so they can pay with Amazon, so maybe we can attract some users who cannot transact with PayPal or credit card. But implementing the payment gateway, as you might know, is a really painful thing. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of back and forth conversations with support. It would involve the whole company, because we'll have to coach our CS team. We'll have to make changes to our accounting, and we'll have to account for the cost of running that payment system. So what did we do? We ran a test which we called fake door. Our control group did not have that button, but our variant had Pay Now with Amazon button. And what that button did, it just showed you a message, sorry, Amazon payment system is not available. So essentially we tricked users, but because we didn't change the flow, it was right there in place, so we just changed the button with the text. Users were still able to transact with PayPal or credit cards. And that's what they did. But when we analyzed the data, we actually found that some users, they did not transact. They tried to use that button and did not transact. There were some theories that it might have been due to the fact that we alienated users by tricking them, and they just, don't want to talk to you anymore. But that was not true, because transaction rate through PayPal and through credit card did not drop. So it was the same user behavior, but we saw a group of people who wanted to use Amazon payments, but they couldn't. And when we calculated these numbers, we saw that we can get up to 8% increase in that particular step of the funnel, which will result in 8% increase in revenue. And if you go and talk to anyone senior in the company, they'll say, yeah, let's do it. But that's not the end. We actually have to implement it and see. and actually see, oh, sorry, I missed the slide. And we have to implement it and see the actual user behavior. But that gives us enough confidence to spend the month on integrating with the payment system. So next thing we did, we actually ran a real Amazon payment system test. And we spent the month integrating with the system. And we actually saw that those people who could not transact initially with credit cards and PayPal, they started transacting with Amazon. There weren't as many as we thought before, but that was due to some of the miscalculations we've done. But we still saw a 5% increase in essentially revenue due to the fact that we implemented Amazon payment systems. And this is an example of how we gradually went to a feature, because it's not always like that. We could have seen that there are less increase or there's actually no change, but we would spend all the time and effort and money on doing that. And this is how we do our build, measure, learn cycle. So we built a small test, we measured the outcome, and then we went to a second step. We built an actual thing, we measured it, and now we are at the stage when we actually are looking at doing the full integration. Because when we do these tests, we're not always doing them like fully blown implementations. They sometimes can be pretty hackish. So we just put things together, put them in front of our users, and we observe their behavior. And it actually makes them very cheap. The takeaway from here is that whatever you assume about users may be correct or may be incorrect, and quite often it is not correct. And it's not because of somebody doesn't know, doesn't do their job right. It's because you might have a different audience, and that audience might react to your changes differently. So, if you release those things, they will, and you spend time on releasing those things, they will actually cost your company money, and they will cost you money. And if nobody wants them, then this money is going to be wasted. So by starting small and testing simple things, you can actually save a lot of money, even if it seems like it's a waste of time. And it looks like I rushed it. So, any questions? Yes?
Who chooses the assumptions? Like, where do they come from?
Now you probably saw our stand there today. So that's one of the ways we do it. We do user research, user interviews. So we get users either in a room or online. We give them a task to buy, in this example, to buy something. And we observe their behavior and we notice how they do certain things. And it gives us an insight. We also interview users about what they want from a website, how they want to do things. As well as we ask users to do the same thing on our competitors' websites, which gives us also a good insight on what our competitors do well or don't do well. Also, just by looking at the data, let's say Google Analytics, you can learn a lot where users come from, which pages they drop out of, how far do they go in the funnel, and those sort of things.
Any other questions? In terms of
methods, what have you found from your experiments? Is it the simplicity of the payment that people went through one versus the other one? Is it the simplicity of usage or?
Yeah, we had some anecdotal evidence that people, especially when they shop from their couch using an iPad, and they want to buy something, they might not have their credit card there on the table next to them. They'd rather use PayPal or Amazon just to do it. And we looked at the data, and depending on the region, PayPal is probably the half of the sales. It is a simplicity thing. So people don't really want to, don't like to type in a lot. And when you buy with a credit card, you have to type in your name, your credit card, your address, your shipping address, your billing address. While if you're going through a payment system, it usually is going to be like just one click or 2 clicks. So it is a simplicity and a bit of timing issues for users.
Who sets the prices on Redbubble? Is it you or the artists?
We have base prices, and artists can choose their margins. So what goes on top of it, what artist gets paid.
When you're running these experiments, obviously on live audiences, is there often problems or difficulties deciding how do you roll it out to the entire world audience, or do you really limit the segments that are seeing these experimental changes?
Both of those experiments were targeting the US audience only.
That's still the whole of US?
The whole of the US. But the thing is, they were targeting the whole of the US. But in most of the experiments, we are targeting just new users who come to a website at the first time because they don't have a preconceived notion and expectations from the website. Like we can segment them and we can roll it out to, let's say, 30% of those users. And we also can segment them by other things. We can even target a particular city. So it's totally up to you. We use our own framework, A/B testing framework, which is flexible enough to do these things.
Do you ever have the challenge, perceived or otherwise, around exposing a new product offering before it might be ready for market, to the market?
You mean the physical products, like, let's say?
Like a product or a service, or something that you think is maybe going to take the world by storm, but it might not be ready. But you want to get the experiment out there so you can get the feedback. But you know, sometimes people say, "Well, I don't want to do that just yet because it's not ready."
Well, that's actually what happened with Amazon. Even though we tested and we proved that we can get an increase, it's still not live. Because we are not ready, and there's some unanswered questions. But we know that on a bigger scale, it is something we want to do and we want to release.
My business are convinced they know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
How do I go about questioning them and getting them to accept to try and experiment when they're convinced that they're right?
You can run an experiment regardless and then show them the results. That's what we did with free shipping. There actually were people who thought that there'll be a huge increase, and when we saw no change, they were like, "Oh, you probably did it wrong." Yeah, so I think that you should still go ahead and do it. Yeah, that's right.
Shortcut behind the scenes.
That's right.
Okay.
Might be dangerous, though.
So what sort of traffic numbers do you have, and how do you decide how many numbers you need to have to make an informed decision?
So the first question about traffic, we get in 10 million visitors a month. In terms of just hits, we get in like 15,000 hits a minute. Not all of them are users, and not all of them are new users, but we know our numbers. We know how many new users come to a website every day. So let's say we know that we have 10,000 new visitors every day, And then, because A/B testing is based on statistics, so we can, the well-known formulas, they're all in the books. You can just go ahead and calculate how many samples you actually need in both groups to observe a change. But the trick here is that you need to know what change do you expect. You need to know that beforehand. So either you're aiming for 5% increase or you're aiming for 100% increase. And by knowing that, it actually allows you to calculate the number. And the smaller change you expect, the longer you'll have to run, the more users you'll have to run. And also, because all the traffic is different, so some people come on Sundays, some people come in the evenings. We see a lot of spikes like that every week, every day, and every month. So even if we, let's say, can get all our users we need in one day, we still try to expand the experiment to run for a month so we can account for those fluctuations. Any other questions? Yes.
So you did the purchase experience testing.
Mm-hmm.
What's your next goal or next experiment?
Well, we have lots of different things in the pipeline. We're trying to improve search experience. We're looking at international buyers, different languages, and things like that. We are also doing things behind the scenes which you can't see on the website, and we're trying to improve them so more users will, let's say, come back, or they will just find us through other means like Google, Facebook, or whatever. Yeah, we have a very wide area of things, a lot of things in our plate. Any more questions? Yes.
Which tool are you using for that A/B experiment?
We use our own tool. Our application is built in Rails, so we use our own in-house built tool for A/B testing. But to start doing that, there are plenty of different frameworks around, so it's actually quite easy to start doing that. You can come and talk to me. I can give you some examples that point you out. Any more questions? Yes. Hi.
Have you looked into anything like trying to, because the A/B testing will give you the immediate experiment and know the immediate response, if you will, but more of understanding in more detail why people are behaving that way, so you can essentially have more better insight for your next attempt?
Yes, so all the whys we get from user interviews and usability sessions that actually can reveal some whys, not all of them. But we don't get whys from the data, because data just gives you either it's good or not good, but data will never say you why, will never tell you why. All right, thanks very much.